Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.co's. What are we? We're going to do a broiler chicken show here today. Yeah, I think actually we're going to do this for YouTube, give the public a little bit of candy here today on the weekend. So, we, obviously with all the crypto price action here, we've had a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And we also have a brand new school term starting here shortly. So we've got probably, and frankly, I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked. It's quite stunning. But if I'm not mistaken, the new term school body, I think it's a good 150 people. So I understand there's going to be a lot of people watching this video today that are going to want a little bit of guidance around that as well. Site's very active. You can see it's like Sunday morning. Like I said, I'm heading off to Liam. We got about 250 people on the site right now and a good 150 people in the chat room. So, hey, great to Tharbin. Great to see the PMA on this site. So like in the chat room right now, everybody on the site, of course, is all like, okay, get ready for the show, right? Here it comes, right? And this is Tharbin's picture of his. Actually, I really like that. Did you do that yourself? It looks like that you did that yourself. That's cool. We might just have a new cover photo for our show here. Thank you, Tharbin. That's awesome. But anyway, as well as starting the new school term, and we just had our level tours, the recent level 1 graduates, the level tours now, embark on their journey, and it was great to see them all come back to class and get reunited and stuff with the buddies from last term. I got to tell you, it's such a cool sort of collegial feel, and the one thing I've noticed is some of the relationships that some of these people build with their peers in their school program, it's just so awesome. These might even be like lifelong relationships, and that's the kind of stuff that, you can't, it's not really a sellable part of a product or anything. You can't even really tangibly put your fingers on it. But that's the kind of end result stuff that comes out of our site that I just love. It's just beautiful. And I look down and I see Wayne, right? And I think of Wayne and his friendships with Keith and Bobo and Ian. Did you guys get Ian's ice bath links? Oh, Jesus. Ian wants me to start taking ice baths. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Ian. Totally appreciate it. Totally awesome. Well, maybe just a cold shower, eh? Yeah, the Hoff. Okay, so Wim Hof, right? So everybody's getting all excited about that anyway. So that's another side. Well, I won't talk about that today. But anyway, so the point is, geez, it's so beautiful watching everybody PMA for the win. And actually, I see some faces here I haven't seen in a while. So great to see Nils, Mr. PMA, such a nice person. So if you have the opportunity, reach out to him while he's here. Benjamin, of course. Benjamin has actually offered to keep track of all the Binance, TradingView, Polo lists for things like TradingView and stuff like that. And he's going to try and create some sort of refreshing link for GitHub or something. I just saw him post that in the lounge. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you can't. I mean, you couldn't even pay like people like a salary to do, right? It's just PMA. I mean, I don't even know how to create something like that. And that's the beautiful 1 + 1 = 3 kind of shit that goes on here. So, okay, I could pay you. So the question here has to be is how do we, how do I leverage your PMA to help you karmically, because I know people in this space, instead of getting a bill, if they feel like they get value, then what ends up happening is they go and help you in sort of like some sort of barter kind of way, kind of like what's happened here with this site. So if there is a way we can figure it out, of course, Ben, and you got my heart. Ben's been on the site active now pretty much since like what, about 2000? When did you join us? 2015? Did you come in that 2 years? So here we are, 2018. So beginning of 2016, and just a fantastic contributor. Ben, would you like me to let the good people, because keep in mind there'll probably be like 1,000, 2,000 people on YouTube who watch this. Do you have like a referral link or something that I can just let the good people know? This guy's a stand-up gentleman. Here, I'll give you there's his moniker, the little BC. I always thought he actually scored major points with me when I first met him, when I saw that screen icon, because I love that cartoon growing up. So totally awesome there. But by all means, Ben, Twitter links, Trading View. You've got it's kind of weird. I'm starting the video off with a big sales pitch to subscribe to Ben's newsletter. But you've got like a page or something on Trading View or something like that, right? I think what I'll probably do is because I'm talking so much about you, I'm going to go on the video afterward, and I'm going to ask you for your specific links, and I'm just going to put them on the video page. Okay. Hey, there you go. All right. Oh, look at that. Boom. All right. Problem solved. So if you want to do it right away, there is Benjamin. There's that icon that I just showed you. Stand up gentleman, just absolutely fantastic gentleman, just top notch. So anyway, okay, let's I don't know, where should we start today? Oh, you know what I wanted to do, and I don't really want to be like, okay, well, this is, the news wire, okay, blah, 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 kind of thing. I really do like this sort of interactive, especially what we had on the site. And the thing that actually kickstarted me wanting to get this show going today was somebody, and this is, this is a really important message that I thought was actually worth a video. Hey, there's Mr. Ian. Thank you for the ice bath link, dude. I don't know whether I'm quite ready for that, but I appreciate I watched the whole damn video. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so there was a question in the lounge here about a half an hour ago, and I see these kinds of questions posted often. And when I go out into the public and I talk with the public, it's basically the same question. And really what I wanted to do, and I actually might even splice this off later on and put it, is I would like to, number one, go through why it's actually not in your best interest that we actually even give you our advice about an asset. I think, a big part of this site and what I'd like to see happen and what I've tried to do here is if I'm going to comment on your idea, and maybe let's just see if we can go pull the chart up here while I'm blabbing away. I'm going to tell you where I might be interested, where I might think about buying, where I might think about selling, and what I would do with my money. And at that point, you can, it's so important to understand that we all have our very own unique individual trading plans, that it's actually not even in your best interest to ask me my advice, because I don't know your personal situation. And it's actually, ironically enough, I actually statistically have a very low probability of actually giving you an answer that's in your best interest. I mean, that's the irony of this. So that's why, I don't know how I'm going to splice this up later, but I have this question happen a lot. And I thought I'd take some time and just talk to you a little bit about, visually, who was this? This person's name was Jagdish. I sure hope I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. I hate when I mispronounce people's names. Jagdish, are you on the call here? Did you come in? I see there's Rizvan. He was also in the lounge when we were having this conversation. Can somebody poke Jagdish? He should be in here since I am talking to him. But okay, so once upon a time, we basically get somebody who posts this chart in the lounge and says, all right, Brian, I'm long old shitload of, what is it? ETH, right? What should I do? Should I sell here? Right? Is he over on the YouTube page? Maybe I should grab that link wherever the hell it is. Should I buy here? Should I sell here? What should I do? And the problem here is that, yeah, there we are. Maybe he's over there. Jagdish, if you're over on the YouTube page, can you just type in the text box there that you're there? I don't know where he is. Anyway. Hey, Kevin made to the big table, big kids table. I love it. All right, so I see Rizvan's got his camera on, but that's not who I'm looking for. I'm looking for Jagdish. Where is Jagdish? Hey, there you are. Yeah, leave the camera on, man. I love that because I also see Justin's got his camera on. Then at least I can get some sort of feedback that, you know, maybe my jokes fly if I see you laughing. But if I see your face like totally stone cold, then I know, oh, that didn't work. So if you want to have your camera on, totally awesome. But anyway, let's get back to the conversation. People on YouTube are like, what are you doing? Yeah, hey, I got my pants on. Everybody should have pants on. In fact, speaking of which, and I'm going to go off on a divergence here, and this is why I'm going to have to cut the video up later on because everybody's like, oh, he's just going to say that. Oh, no, now he's going to talk about something else. But speaking of pants, I thought it would be really important to, well, not thought it would be. We had a really great time last night. Tenjay, are you in the hangout here? Where is he? Is he over here? Anyway, how do I maximize this? I'm not quite sure how to do this, but oh well. If I blow up the call, I apologize. We went to Decontrol, and I don't think it's a good idea for you to have to we'll look at that later. I went to Decontrol last night, and I actually was on the chat room, and I apologize, Alex. We kind of took over the chat room there last night, but great interview with QSL. Was it QSL, QSP? I can't remember who those guys were, but anyway, really nice QSP. Yeah. And it was great to see all the TRIers in their chat room. That was totally awesome. But anyway, Tenjay was like, Brian, get your goddamn butt down here. So I did, and that was thank you, Tenjay, for kicking my butt. And so we went down there, and Brian, of course, a terrible dresser, got to invest in a wardrobe, and geez, Brian's got to go on a diet. That's not so good. But Ed here is another TRIer that happened to be there, and it was Ed's birthday. So we all actually went out afterward and had sushi. It was really great. I mean, I don't know whether Tenjay even realizes it, but he basically got to sit and have dinner with goddamn fucking crypto aristocracy here. And Alex, we just basically got Alex to ourselves for like a half hour, 45 minutes. It was fucking incredible. And we were just picking his brain right, left, and center. What about this? 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 We were so lucky. I got to tell you, we were so lucky. Anyway, so Ed, happy birthday. Happy belated. Thank you very much, Decontrol. It was a really nice evening. And thank you very much, Alex. Really nice time seeing you again. And like I said, this meeting in Alex's honor has to, of course, be pants optional. So you can put your camera on, take your camera off at your leisure, but understand if you do have your camera on and you don't have any pants on, that could get a little embarrassing. Raph, are you out there, Mr. Banana Pants? Okay, back to our story. I'm just having fun. Raph, love you, baby. Okay, so once upon a time, and I think this is really, it's an important conversation. Jagdish, if you do watch this video later on, please understand that I'm not being critical, but this is a real problem that I see in the financial services industry. It's a problem that, thank you very much, Ben, over on YouTube. It's a problem, of course, now seeing happening in the crypto space. And I was a broker for many years. I mean, I played this game, and the irony of it all is that, you know, trading is really more a question of human psychology than it is, you know, ironically enough, about the actual asset. That's what drives you crazy, because you listen to guys like Warren Buffett, and who was the other guy who was chiming in the other day? It was totally dogging crypto. Geez, there's a few people, but anyway, Buffett's the recent one, right? Saying it's a Ponzi, it's a scam, right? The problem, I mean, I would simply say that we have to, if we can understand that crypto is a commodity and commodity type assets, and of course, if your crypto provides utility, then, I mean, sorry, YouTube, I hope this doesn't piss you off, but fuck you, Buffett. Fuck you, Jamie Dimon. You don't understand what's going on here. I mean, you just simply don't understand. It's simple as that. I don't mean to be rude, but that's just the simple fact of the matter. Now, here's another issue of this equation. Does the price of these assets really matter? Not really. I mean, the key here for these assets, of course, in my humble opinion, is what does it take to keep them alive, providing the utility that they're meant to do? And if it's a question of something like a proof of work kind of concept cryptocurrency, then we can actually figure out pretty much what the cost is to keep these things going. Proof of stake, it gets a little trickier. I can understand that. This whole idea of master nodes and stuff like that. But the bottom line here is to say that these things don't have any value, I think is total bullshit. And that's not really looking at these things in the way that they are actually designed to be built and used. And what I find interesting is when I went to like Decontrol last night, there are some people that are absolute sort of, what do we call them? Bitcoin maximalists, right? They're purists and they don't even really care about this kind of stuff, price action and charts like that. They're buying into Bitcoin because of what, the white paper, what its sort of intended purpose was, is to change the world. We're going to use the internet protocol to determine what the value of money is. I think that's brilliant, and take it out of humans' control. The irony of it all is we make the argument that the big banks and stuff are setting themselves up, but one could make the argument that the reason why fiat currencies are diluted is that just people want to just keep the system going. And what you have to understand is if you live in a hard currency world, then what has to happen is the economic cycle must follow growth and recession cycles. And of course, our democratically elected politicians these days have engineered it so that our economies cannot grow. Cannot shrink, I beg your pardon. If our economies don't grow, holy Jesus, the problem just becomes an absolute nightmare, and it'll end very quickly. Remember Obama, $1 trillion deficits? I mean, this is insanity. So they need to make the economy grow, and by diluting the currency, that's the way they're going to make it grow. And of course, for Joe Sixpack, it just simply means our standard of living is diluted. So, the irony of it all is one could actually argue as a function of money that if we actually put the value of money back in sort of like the internet's hands and the protocols, then the humans aren't going to be given the discretion to fuck around with things like deficits and stuff like that. And we'll have to sort of go back to sort of living within our means again. Now, that's an interesting conversation unto itself, right? And through things like the Cold War, we justified, multi-billion-dollar deficits to build aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines and stuff because we got to fight the commies, and Tomahawk cruise missiles that cost like $1 million a piece. This is another side, and I'm way off on a tangent here, but I'm just having fun today. The you know what the textbook definition of socialism is? It's technically that the largest amount of the population actually works for the state. That's the technical definition of socialism. So the irony of it all is that you could make the argument the United States of America is the biggest socialist country in the world. It's hilarious. Because in essence, does anybody know what the biggest employer in the world is? It's pretty simple. And I sort of already gave you the lead in. No, well, even more specifically, Nils. No, maybe let's be really specific about this. It's the Department of Defense. It is. The United States Department of Defense is the biggest single employer in the world. So isn't that ironic? But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So where were we going with all this? Okay, so the actual value utility of these things called cryptocurrencies, I definitely think if you understand, especially the currencies that want to actually be used as a function to do something, I think you can definitely make quote unquote the value argument. And if it's something like a store of value kind of story, well, like Bitcoin and the proof of work story, I think you can make the argument that there's value. The question ultimately becomes, how do you keep these networks going? And that, of course, is where we come into this concept of mining and validating the networks, and what does it cost to keep them going? And it's interesting. Like I said, Tanjay, Ed, and I, we were spoiled rotten yesterday because we got to sit and listen to fucking Mr. Crypto. This guy is, if I was going to ask anybody in the public to try and describe what crypto guy, this is it. This is the dude. The only other person who I think could probably do a better sales pitch is probably the Antonopoulos guy. Other than that, this guy he's the shit. Anyway, so the point of the matter is we just simply came to the conclusion that price of these assets is substantially higher than what it costs to keep them going. You know, I talk on Twitter and stuff with guys like Not So Fast, you know, like this guy is, I don't know whether I have just his link handy, but I love, you know, like I don't follow a heck of a lot of people. I love to follow this guy, Crypto Cobain, man. He's hilarious. You really got to follow him. He's so funny. But I really like to follow some of the miners in this space. I don't know whether we have them around or not. Oh, here, this guy here. I highly recommend you follow him. Not So Fast. This guy, he's, you know, let's be honest here. Quit kidding ourselves, right? And somebody who got beat up on that Apex, right? And we all know that the Apex is, they kind of wanted to build themselves as a security. So Trex lately has said, well, you know, we really don't want to have coins that even build themselves as securities on our exchange. So Trex is delisting them. Well, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And so people are like just bitching at him, right? Because he's such a nice guy. And he's like, well, you know, if you want to take a bite at it, you know, whatever. And they're bitching at him. Oh, you told me I was going to make $1 million, right? Well, obviously, you know, these people aren't, you know, taking appropriate risk management, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, if you do watch this Not So Fast, you know, take heart, you know, you got it. There's a guy, 30 years experience in the market dealing with retail customers when trade ideas don't go right. And this is actually another big reason why I wanted to have this Broiler Chicken show and talk to you about an asset like ETH here, right? So, I mean, so, you know, do yourself a favor if you can, follow Not So Fast, a super smart dude. But what's really interesting is at our dinner conversation last night with Alex, he came up with this concept that I thought was brilliant. He was like, well, you know, really what we really need is another developer cycle. And I love that about Alex because, you know, like he's like, well, Brian, it's pretty simple what you do. You just provide financial literacy. You make people financially literate. I love how Alex can articulate so nice and simply to the point and just boom, that's pretty much what it is in just a couple words. And so, you know, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. You guys all know on our daily briefs and all that crap, right? Well, I wouldn't say crap. There's the good quality stuff. You know, we've been saying for a very, very long time, we can't be investing in this space while we go through this. And, you know, thanks to our little reload zone tool, and if we just do simple fibs off the range, we got a pretty good idea where our quote unquote investment window is. If anything, and I always found this amusing, and I put tweets and stuff out about this. If you had asked anybody in crypto space, even a year ago, that's the kick in the pants, right? Here's friggin' January of 2017 here. If you had asked anybody in January 2017, just 1 year ago, if you had asked them, well, would you be okay if Bitcoin established a floor at, I don't know, $5,000 a coin? What do you think their reaction would be? They would be like, that's fine by me. But now all of a sudden people are like, $5,000 a Bitcoin. Oh, this guy's falling. Ah! Come on. Seriously? Now, here's the problem. Where does the public buy assets? Does the public generally buy when they're supposed to be buying? Or do they buy when they shouldn't be buying? It sucks. It's brutal reality. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And that's the whole point of what I do, right? And this is why when people are like, hey, Brian, come and talk to me, tell me, should I buy or should I sell this thing, right? The irony of it all, and even in Bitcoin right here, the irony of it all is if I actually gave you advice, oh, I think you should buy here. I think you should sell here. The irony of it all is I've only got about a 33% chance of actually giving you information that you are going to be like, damn, I sure am glad I listened to that guy. 33% chance. And it's interesting because we're just starting up our new school term. And I just simply have 2 simple rules of investing. Number 1, try and use some sort of algorithmic approach. And, all people on YouTube, you want the secrets of investing? Write this fucking shit down, man. It works. Try and find some sort of algorithmic approach, some sort of, if this happens and this happens and this happens, then I do that. Else, I don't do anything. Because if you can turn the investment process into that, if this and that, do that. Else, don't do nothing. Then at least you can quantify whether you're if this and that, do that, else nothing. You can actually quantify whether it works or not. If you're just going willy-nilly, oh, fuck it, hey, Bitcoin, talking about it in the media today, what the hell, let's buy it. And then next week, it's, well, this guy said that, so I sold it. Well, I learned this thing called candlesticks from this clown on YouTube called Brian Beamish. Who knows the fuck he knows what he's talking about? But this inside bar reversal, man, it's cool. I'm going to take this trade this time. If you take that kind of approach, it's very difficult to win at this game over the long term. I'm telling you guys, it's really difficult. Remember, I'm 30 bloody years into this. Took me a long, long time to learn that. Now, you can keep going, hey, CNBC guy says this thing's going to the moon, I'm going to buy it. You could do that route, but I'm telling you, 30 bloody years into this, save yourself a couple decades. So, Mr. Gentleman who's asking about the ETH, right? So let's go and just take a look at the charts, and I'm just going to give you my perfectly candid opinion about where I could buy or sell something. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I am recommending you do one thing or another. That's interesting. I got a lot of charts open here, so maybe this is just too much. Why don't we put you away? Let's go. Where should we put you? Actually, I got all these crazy windows open. I'll put all this stuff away. There's Benjamin. We should keep that open. But if you do want to follow a stand-up dude, follow this Paquette guy. He is just the shit. Site stuff, reviewing the school program coming up here. We got some fun spread charts. Let's see what else. And everybody's going, okay, Brian, quit with the rhetoric and just get on with the damn analysis. We want to know what's happening. You're going to have to wait. Sorry. Okay, so hopefully that frees up a little bit of computer space. Actually, why don't we put you over here? And actually, you know what? Because you did this on, this looks like it's on Coinigy. So why don't we replicate this study on Coinigy? So it just makes it nice and easy for you. Gotta tell you, man, Cryptopia coins, these things are just the shit right now, eh? Banging out doubles right, left, and center here. Okay, so this is BTC ETH on Polo. BTC, you got to go at, right? ETH, BTC, ETH. Nope, that's not it. What did I do wrong here? Maybe you have to put in the symbol the other way around. BTC, ETH. Oh, I'm doing something wrong here. All right, just bear with me. Remember, I'm an old man. ETH. Let's try it that way. ETH, BTC. And that's Cryptopia, but let's head on over to Polo. He was on Polo, wasn't he? There he is. Boink. And actually, you know, heads up, kind of a special treat. If you guys on YouTube and stuff are interested, and of course, you know, all site people, I'll make sure that you're aware of this. Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we're thinking about doing another Coinigy BAT episode. So actually, you're going to get on Wednesday, you're going to get a big old dose of Alex, myself, and Will. We haven't heard from Will. Actually, I think we're going to get an update on how these guys are doing. Okay, so here's our chart. Bitcoin, ETH. Hey, I'm an Ethereum bull. Look at me. Rah! I remember we had this cute little bottom down here, and I just didn't know whether I had the balls to pull the trigger right there. And actually, this is a really good example of Wyckoff, right? So you can see the double bottom, the market structure, the breakout, and look how the market came back and just checked that level. So, you know, maybe you missed the double bottom, but wow, on the check of the double bottom, can you see this nice little inside bar reversal there? Really cool. So, you know, if I was like short-term momentum trading this, I think, you know, your area that where you want to be a buyer is down in here. And keep in mind too, that ETH likes to like V bottom, then spike up, and then go sideways. That's exactly what it did last year, right? If we go back and look at last year, into the end of the year, did exactly the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so do you see? Look at this. It's almost identical. Oh, those jerks. So into the end of the year, nice bottom, spike up, and look at this violent move, eh? And then it just goes sideways. And I remember last year, everybody on the site was just like, oh man, if this thing ever gets down to the reload zone, I'm going to so load up on this thing. And it just never came back down. And I see that happen so often. So often, it's ridiculous. Is there any sort of way that TRIers, and I'll just ask the lounge people, I have anybody on YouTube if you want to answer this, is there any kind of, and I'll give you the hint, trend continuation trade setup that we might use to try and trade this? Because it just clearly looks to me like she just had no interest in coming back down to the bottom. The bot, that's right. So, you know, you could actually, you're like, damn, I want to get in on this thing. Damn, this is a stone cold honky. I love that YouTube little thing. I put that out all the time. I love that. Damn, that's a stone cold honky. All right. So we're going to go and put our little bot levels, and let's see what we get. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And you get the sound effects too. You guys are so lucky. And we go like that. And I think that should do it. Hey, there we go. So market rallies off the bottom and started working its way down. And what's really cool about this is actually we have, look at a pretty well-defined AB equals CD here. So, you know, you see the market jump up and you're like, damn, I want to so get in on this thing, but I just don't know where the hell the bottom's going to come in. Oh, isn't that sick when you see that, guys? It drives you nuts. So the harmonic guys, they really love that level right in there. So I might argue, and also too, if you think about Wyckoff kind of conversations and Elliott Wave, for example, Elliott Wave actually likes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then the corrections are supposed to be A, B, C, D. So seeing this kind of correction here, I love the fact that she put in this beautiful little double bottom right here. Can you see that? Does that make sense, everybody? Pretty straightforward. Yeah, take it easy, Joshua. And then you had a big spike up, and interesting how it came right back down into those levels. So really anywhere down in here, if you wanted to try and get long, the bot might have had you walk away at scratch through here. If you were just like, damn, I really want to get in on this, and this low held, hell, you could take the bot a second time. And actually, we've had that happen a few times where stopped at scratch. Okay, let's just let the dust settle. Another, buy signal comes in. Look at this cool little tweezers right in here, right? Nice little spike up, opened up, spike down. So there's, on the lower time frames, there's probably a really nice little trading range that developed right through there and there. Any kind of reversal through this bought level, away you go. And actually it was interesting because we even had this conversation in the lounge yesterday. Do you have to sell everything at the 100% level? No, you don't have to. You could sell like 90%, take the other 10%, put the coins on like a cold storage wallet or something, put it on a USB device and forget about it. The great part about trading is ultimately it's really just a question of what works for you individually. We've got, oh, Jesus, there's an image. Thanks, Josh. You're freaking me out there, man. Josh put this image. People waiting for the level 1 are like, come on, I can't go fast enough. That just caught my attention. Sorry. All right, so the point of the matter here is if I was going to be a buyer last year, and I remember, and we haven't seen Michael on the site in a while. Michael actually got really excited about XLM in October, November. Does anybody, and I've got a shitload of free XLM on the books. I got XLM and STR now. But how you guys doing? How you feeling about Michael's STR XLM idea? You remember that? Is anybody here that bought all a whack of it when he was getting all excited about it last October? Yeah, that was so Michael got all excited about Ethereum here. And it was really interesting because I put out a video somewhere along here, and I was like, Michael, you're the shit, man. You just got to believe in yourself. And so it's really interesting. I think, unfortunately, I think I've released a fucking beast, but Michael comes in last September, October, right in here, and it's like, I believe this thing is the shit. What do you think? You think Michael's feeling pretty good right now? Way to go, Michael. If you do watch this, miss you, bud. Brilliant call. But anyway, that's not the purpose of this conversation. The purpose of this conversation was to be looking at Ethereum. Like I said, Michael said, I think you should buy Ethereum in here. Look at that fucking trade. Way to go, Michael. Man, smart guy. Okay. So we can see where the bottom was last year. And then once again, like I said, the interesting thing about this year, I actually found that it felt like the whole market was front running this event. So many people were like, all right, we can't wait for this damn, year-end seasonal bottom to come in. And interestingly enough, it looks like it basically came in through the first part of December. And then, of course, big rally. Remember, we talked about that last year, right? Big rally off the bottom. I really don't think it's a good idea to be chasing in here. That's not a really smart idea. And if anything, and this is what I suggested in the lounge, when I looked at this price chart relative to Bitcoin, keep in mind, this is not Ethereum unto itself. We'll look at Ethereum versus dollars in a moment. But relative to Bitcoin, it looks to me like Ethereum is in a trading range. Bottom of the range. And what's interesting is this bottom of the range, right, actually corresponds nicely with old breakout levels. So I feel pretty confident right now that this is a short-term bottom. The only problem here is that this is very V-bottomy. At some point down the road, it'll probably have to be tested, kind of like this was V-bottomy. So at some point we had to come back down and do a big test. If we go and break out through the top here, well, that's a big-ass W, and higher time frame institutional players are going to get all excited. But we can't assume that right now. You know what happens when you assume stuff. So for the time being, we just simply have to say, where's the old high? And, we talk about institutional fingerprints, the bar that made the high or the low plus the preceding bar. You can see that basically whoever it was, they stopped the bull through this window right here. Took them a lot. This is a massive tidal force push. Buyers, the public, of course, coming in just orgy crazy. It took, some serious effort to stop the bull, but somebody eventually stopped the bull and turned it down. But that's a pretty damn big window, isn't it? The irony of it all is we can do the exact opposite logic off of this low and say, where's the bar that made the low plus the preceding bar? And you can see how this is sort of like a big swoosh here. This is like a FOMO dump. Get me out at all. I don't care. I just get me out, right? And it was also, of course, Bitcoin FOMO peak, right? So in essence, and if you wanted to take that bar up to there, I wouldn't argue with you over that. But in essence, you can see where they stopped the bull and where they stopped the bear. And here is our range. So given that, and I don't know, does anybody know what's the statistical probability that this market is going to remain in a trading range versus breakout and establish a new trend? Anybody have any ideas? How about you YouTubers? What do you think the odds are that this market stays in this trading range versus breakout to a new range? Uh, 50%? I think it's actually a bit higher than that. Hey, Thor, good job. 70, 80%. There is basically a 70 to 80% probability that the market will probe into this area and actually roll over and come back and test these lows. Now, the rollover itself might just be like that. That's fine. That's perfectly logical. But the bottom line here is my hunch is we're stuck in a trading range. And remember, this is Bitcoin relative to, or Ethereum relative to Bitcoin. You could have Ethereum march to new highs, but if Bitcoin's in a bull market, then this thing will just sit in its range, right? So please understand, this is relative to Bitcoin. I'm not telling you the relative value of US dollars versus Ethereum's, but if I was going to relative to Bitcoin, did I say that once or twice? If I was going to analyze this relative to Bitcoin, I would be looking for major resistance in our reload zone window. I thought it was interesting. One gentleman who's in the call here, and I affectionately made reference to him earlier, Ian, he's done a lot, and I actually even made reference in the lounge earlier this morning. He's done a lot of work, and he has included the 88.6 fib because he finds that a lot of these cryptos respect that 88.6 fib. I do like the idea of 88.6s off of pullbacks, and if we actually did this, it almost looks to me like that is 88.6, eh? Let's see what happens. Look at that. Fucking Ian for the win. Holy Jesus, Ian. Isn't that sick? So, I like to just simply, what is the reload zone? Maybe we should take a moment and just quantify what is the reload zone. The whole concept here, and actually this isn't a bad opportunity. The whole concept here is to understand that there are going to be certain market participants that will act just simply based on levels. And, this Fibonacci retracement tool is just nothing more than a statistical measure of range. That's all it is. So we need to understand that there are certain players that will, do we have any mathematicians in the group? We had one gentleman who was like a doctor of mathematics or whatever, Richard. You guys remember him from last fall? And he was just, when I started talking about 0.618s and stuff like that, it's just like he was just like in heaven, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried about him. I do know that his son-in-law also continued on the site. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. But anyway, and unfortunately, we have to understand, Benjamin, like 95% of the public don't do very well, right? If you don't take the education program, if you don't follow the steps outlined, I see a lot of people fall by the wayside. So, God bless. I hope he's doing okay. I'm not going to say this life is for everybody, right, Benjamin? Can you appreciate how the life that we live is very esoteric? It's very different. A lot of people that like do 9 to 5 and stuff like that, they, and especially people that, are like, I believe this will happen, and this is what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I will go down with the ship, right? Oh, that's dangerous. Can't live that kind of life in trading, right? And I got a funny feeling that's maybe what happened to him. So anyway, back to our story here. First level that's really important for us to understand is this 0.618. I mean, I suppose, you know, what I actually teach in the course is there are a bunch of fibs that we actually follow, 38.2, and we also even follow a simple principle called the 50% rule. But ironically enough, anybody who actually attributes this 50% rule to a fib doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, it's just that simple. And I see this is like the sign of rookiness out of people that are teaching and doing videos on YouTube. I see this all the time. If somebody says, oh yeah, take trade off 50% fib, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. But anyway, if I was going to be watching levels as we work our way down here, and it's kind of funny on the site, one of our veterans and just the most funniest guy in the world, Thomas, we affectionately like to call the 38.2 the first stop target. That sort of give you an idea mentally of what happens in the market, right? First stop, am I really a bull or am I a bear? Oh no, I'm a bear, so I lose the first stop level. He likes to call it, and the reason why I call it the person I learned this from was a gentleman called Ray Burchett out of New York. He runs a program called Intuitive Development for Traders. Definitely, if you want to be a professional trader, I'd recommend his program. But he's going to teach you about intuitive development. He's not even going to talk to you about charts. So. But that's another conversation for another day. The point of the matter here is that 38.2, important sort of fib that we follow. 50% level is actually a concept by the gentleman by the name of W.D. Gann. Big contributor to the technical analysis world. 50% level, we follow that. Next sort of fib that's really important to me is the 61.8. And I used to work at a prop firm years ago now. Geez, I can't believe how long ago it is. But one of their sort of senior traders, probably one of the best traders, no emotion whatsoever, just trade levels, work your orders, business as usual, very definitely down to earth, level-headed gentleman. And I'll even mention him, Brandon Rigo, if you want to. I don't even think he's public, though. He doesn't really like, you know, a lot of public following. He had the name Mountain Man on Top Step. And I affectionately, to try and help students understand a level, like, is it easy to memorize 0.618? Not really. But if you think about Mountain Man, ooh, that's kind of a crazy image, and you think about Brian's crazy M's and stuff on the charts, hopefully that helps you remember that level better. And that's how I like to teach this stuff, is colorful images and stuff like that. So 61.8, one of the best crude traders I ever met, Mountain Man. You can see here, yeah, you had to take a bit of heat, but wow, you can see how the market reversed off that level. Quite often we see sort of this sort of knee-jerk tag reversal off a level. And of course, he would be selling half of his position on a return to the mean and then just simply stop to break even on remaining. If this market just turned back up and went up, he would be long forever. In this particular case, you can see, boom, we lost the 61.8, so he's gone on the other half of his trade. Still made money, and that's what professional traders do. Point of the matter here is, next level that I find really important is what we like to call the line in the sand, or the 78.6 fib. And again, another reason why I built this website, another reason why I am doing this is what I really like is for the community to embrace these concepts. I mean, these levels work. I mean, it's funny. Last night when we were having dinner with Alex, I was telling him about my Jumbucks trade, which was a perfect shark setup. I don't happen to have the chart handy. I'll show you what the shark setup. I think this one was like on Blitz or something like that. But I've done these shark setups lots in these crypto names, and it's just so much fun. Where you're just going to work a bid off a previous structure off 78.6, and sometimes you get just absolute gifts, right? And I did a trade on Jumbox, exactly the same. So, and that's Alex's coin. Jumbox turned into Ubic. So basically, I'm long off the bottom on Ubic. That was just that Jumbox trade was just the shit. Do you guys remember that? I don't know anybody remembers that trade. It was just awesome. But anyway. So the point of the matter is 78.6. I like to call it the line in the sand. And what I often find with crypto, and I think actually this is exactly what's kind of going on here too, is, here you can see 78.6 did get some play. Again, guys like Mountain Man would buy, blow out half of the position on a return to the mean, and then stop to break even. In this case, he would have been stopped out on the remaining off of this move. Big fucking deal. But what you often find is, and this is what I really like about, is it only me or is the audio really bad? Uh-oh, is there a problem? Good here? Oh, no, okay, we're good. Hey, Sebastian, nice to see you, buddy. Hey, speaking of Top Step, hey, Sebastian, you're over there quite often, aren't you? Are you listening to Hogue on a daily basis? Sounds fine, okay. Yeah, it's just you, Ian. Bad for me, but always that way. Oh, no. Yeah. I wouldn't mind talking to you about how that's going. All right. Anyway, you're going to have your invite for the level 3, right? So can you come maybe next Saturday for class for the new level 3ers? I wouldn't mind chatting with you, bud. Seeing how you're doing. In fact, James, are you here? We got about halfway through the level 3 exams. I don't think we got yours out yet, did we? Whoops. But for you alumni, I totally abuse you guys. I mean, I looked at your exam, dude. You're fucking pro. Don't worry about it. Jesus. Oh, Rob. Oh, no. Rob's there too. I haven't got yours done yet, have I? Oh, Brian, you doofus. Again, Rob, I looked at your answers. You're perfectly fine. You're just, I mean, you guys are professionals. So, and I expect to see both of you this coming Saturday, all right? So, and actually there's one at Jamie. He and I need to talk too. So anyway, back to our story. Oh boy, Brian, getting off on a tangent here. How am I doing on time? Is anybody like, Brian, this is just a ramble. Just get on with it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm just having fun here today. What do you think, YouTubers? Is anybody getting any value out of this? You having fun here today? Is anybody learning anything? I sure hope so. That's why I do these things. For sure. Rockers 31171 says for sure. All right. Well, we're just having fun. If you can learn something from this, rock on. Love watching you take chart apart. Thanks. Learning tons. Awesome. Way to go, Justin. Perfect. Excellent. Good. Okay. So back to our story. What I often see happen in crypto, this happens a lot, and it's very typical of venture capital as well, is that, there are going to be guys that are going to be like, oh, I'm going to pick the bottom, right? You buy my level and you're going to make $1 million, right? Wayne would like to lodge a complaint. Oh boy. What's wrong, Wayne? What are we doing wrong here? Too much value. Okay, good. Now you're just fucking with me, you jerk. All right, moving on. What we often see is the market will lose this level. I've seen this so many times. But remember, think of that line in the sand, right? So what we often see, and I think this is perfect, is the market will come back to the line in the sand and it'll eventually accept off of it. And you look back in hindsight and go, yeah, it looks like they put up the fight there. I've seen this so many times, people. It's ridiculous. So you might as well just learn from this. Yeah, well, like Ian's saying with a big happy face. And this dude, fuck me, man. All of his bets are like 0.01 BTC, right? I mean, just staggeringly low, small bets. 0.001 BTC. And he's worked that up to something like 12 or 13 BTC or something like that, isn't it? Is that correct? Somewhere in there. I know, yeah, we don't give anybody public hard numbers. I've only known Ian for 6 months. All he's doing is just applying the crap that he's learned in the courses. And he's taking, I don't know what his original stake is, but batting 0.001 BTC, you don't have to start with a pretty big stake. 500 euros. I mean, you do the math. Bitcoin's $13,500 a coin. You do the math. It's enough to just make you go, damn, why are you still working at a full-time job? Yeah, I mean, seriously, Ian, I'm so impressed with you. Do you want a job? I'll give you a job. We're gonna get you out. And what's so funny with Ian and his job is that these people just grind him into the ground. And I always hear the horror stories from all your brethren, Ian, about how you're just getting totally worked into the ground by these companies. So, man, I think you're getting pretty close to the point where you can maybe say, you know what, I've had enough of this working 9-to-5 life. Way to go, dude. Way to go. All right, back to our story. So, what's really cool, you can see Ian's 88.6. I mean, in this particular case, holy Jesus, that's insane. I'm not. Maybe it was Ian and all his cronies had all their bids working at this 88.6 that stopped the bear. One could also argue, though, too, can you see how there's this old market structure level? So one might argue, especially off of here, man, I could see it. I mean, it makes sense. There's probably a whole bunch of open orders, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some gaps and stuff in here. But I can understand why the market pivoted around here, off of that key horizontal support and resistance level. But in fact, I don't know. Maybe I don't know whether I have the numbers exactly correct here. But geez, look how that 88.6 lines up almost perfectly off that old level there, right? So just especially YouTubers, silver site members that are just sort of getting started with trading, don't really understand the whole concept of working with trading plans and stuff. What I would argue is that we should always start our trade sort of contemplation process with, and really, I think it's a good idea that we always go 3 reasons for a trade. Remember, we talked about Brian's first rule of investing, right? Think like an algorithm. You want it to be at least 2/3 accurate. When I used to tell the boys on the floor that I wanted 66% accuracy out of my algos, they all laughed. They couldn't stop laughing. They're like, "Are you serious? 66%?" You got to understand that, of course, pit traders, they have to be trading every single day, right? They got to make their bacon. And most pit traders are scalpers. They're just looking to clip the market for a quick profit. I used to watch all these guys. It was so funny. Every day in the pit, you'd have the pit brokers, guys like Goldman or Merrill or JP Morgan stuff. They would stand up at the top step of the pit and they would just bark orders. We want to sell 500 S&P bigs into the market, which would be a monstrously huge trade. And then think of the pit traders as like koi, right? And they come up to the surface and they're like, oh, I'll take 1, I'll take 5, I'll take 2, I'll take 3, I'll take 7. That make sense? Everybody gonna get that mental image? All right. Then the guys, the koi, they quickly run over to the computers and they start hitting the bids on the ES minis, right? And 1 big is 5 minis. So if you're like a koi and you go and take like one of Goldman's cheap, Goldman just wants to blast out 500 contracts, so they might undercut the market by a point or two. Right? So boom, go and grab that. And then instantly you run over to the other side of the pit to the computer and you're hitting the fucking bid as hard as you can on the E-minis. Right? Does that make sense? And that's basically how the capitalist process works. So those guys that are in the pit, they're just looking for that really small edge, right? And so typically they're only looking for like 55, maybe 60% at best. But I think if we follow this approach, and also if we can sprinkle in some half-decent fundamental, is the coin relatively low float? Do they have some sort of product in development? Is the development team have a reputation? Blah, 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 blah. I think we can actually get that number up into Brian's magic 66%. I really do. So, number one, we always have to think, and just try, YouTubers, public, try and just think of it really simply as, what are the 3 words in real estate? You remember those 3 words in real estate? Then you remember the most important thing when it comes to trading any asset. The irony of it all is that they're not really related. Location! That's right. So location has got to be reason number 1. I won't go into any more detail today because Brian loves the sound of his own voice and I'm talking way too much. But we can use things like RLZ to help us with location. And in essence, that's what this is, and I used to, when I did the Coinage shows and stuff like that, half of our job as good technicians is to just simply try and somehow force ourselves not to buy this. You're just not allowed to. And you have to wait for this. If you can just try and incorporate this patience, just wait, you'll do yourself a world of favor, regardless of risk taken. Is the market appropriate? Is the risk, the asset that you're trading appropriate to your financial plan? Whatever. If you can just force yourself to only buy at or below reload zones, you do yourself a world of favors. So, like I said, I'm not going to go into the other reasons, but just simply put, just based on how I've drawn these simple reload zone tools, boom, boom. Have you guys ever seen, obviously the guys on the site, yes, but the public, I always like to put out these kind of videos and GIFs. Again, I want you to try and visualize what the process is. You see our cat GIF ping pong match here? And can you visualize the traders playing ping pong here? Bottom, top. What did we say was the statistical probability? Then the market's probably going to fail in here and have to come back down. There's a pretty high statistical probability. Anyone? No. Yeah, well, I don't know whether you go 80, but at least a good 70, right? 70 some odd percent. Let's say at least that. We could go as high as 80, but let's say, let's take the medium, let's say 75. So, looking at price right now, understanding Brian's cat GIF ping pong concept and the professional trading community, the fact that markets usually range 70 to 80% of the time, could I justify going and buying this asset right here? How about you YouTubers? What do you think? Is that in my best interest? Anyone? I don't know. No? Rocker, are you on both? Are you on the YouTube page and the Hangout? Or is that just your brother? Oh, Ian, you're cheeky. So, and okay, Steve makes a very valid point. I'm actually going to use Ethereum to buy something else. Blah, 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 blah. All right. In those kind of cases, I like the idea of you averaging your way in here, and you're not even really considering the price of this asset. But that's another conversation for another day. Somebody was just asking me about whether I should be buying or selling or what should I do here on Ethereum. So the bottom line here is, I think, this is just my opinion, that we're actually heading into an area where you're probably going to see some resistance. I don't know whether that means because Bitcoin's going up and Ethereum's going down, or Ethereum's going down and Bitcoin's going up, and one's going up or down faster or slower than the other. I don't know about that. And like I said, when you analyze your assets versus Bitcoin, this is a relationship between these two assets and has nothing to do with the US dollar. Ironically enough, Bitcoin and Ethereum could go up in US dollar value at exactly the same rate, and this chart doesn't move. It will just literally just go sideways. So maybe that's what the fate is here. I don't know. But the bottom line here is we're coming into an area on the price charts where we should expect resistance. We also have this interesting wick here. Does it make sense, guys, that, some people thought this was the bottom and they started buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. Woo, look at us. We're so smart. We're so smart. Look at Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Come on, man. Oh, shitty. Do you see that process that just happened there? And I can tell you, yeah, Paul, you got a sound bite for that one? That's going to be about a 10-15 second sound bite. But in essence, that is the capitalist process. I'm telling you, I'm serious. Oh no, clandestine sources have revealed the identity of the bogus incoming missile alert received recently in Hawaii. Tim has told us, uh-oh, I'm almost afraid to see what this is. Everybody ready? This better not be pornographic. Aw, kitty. That's cute. Nice one, Tim. Kitty. All right. So the point of the matter here is you've got a whole bunch of trapped bulls right here. And they would love nothing more than to be released, and especially in that wick there. What's interesting, too, is this happened repeatedly, and this is sort of leads you to sort of that horizontal support and resistance conversation. Level 2ers, actually, we're going to be doing that in 2 weeks for you guys. But can you see, and, you know, we got a number of levels in here, right? There was a whole bunch of points in here where there was a hell of a fight, right? I'm a bull, I'm a bear, I'm a bull, I'm a bear. I haven't even done all of them. There's a few more in here. So can you now see in our statistical zone, 61.8 to 78.6, can you see all these previous battle points? And remember we said our institutional fingerprint, right? Which is here. This candle low, this candle high, the candle that made the high, all in here, gee whiz, there's the bottom of that level where basically the whales, institutions, whatever you want to call them, said, all right, enough is enough. You know, it might have been Vitalik himself. Who knows, right? So that's that level. Do you see how we're coming up into some pretty significant resistance levels here, eh? Isn't that cool? Horizontal support and resistance, fibs, institutional fingerprint. Wow. Oh, Jesus, that's going to be a brick wall. And so this, you know, again, speaking to that gentleman who's like, well, Brian, do I buy ETH BTC here? Do I sell ETH BTC here? Frankly speaking, because this is a V bottom and this is a V top, we're stuck in a range. And ironically enough, I mean, here's the kick in the pants. If we actually measure the range, we're almost sitting almost exactly the middle of the range, right? There is Mr. Gann's 50% rule. So sitting at this level right here, we could very easily go up to the top of the range. We could very easily go to the bottom of the range. Certainly, you know, the odds, like we said, are actually that we should probably revisit these lows at some point. And the odds of us breaking out through the top here are kind of limited. So could I even remotely think about buying this here? No way. Couldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Where would I be interested? And this is where it gets really cool, this stuff, guys, because you see this all the time in the markets. If you had seen this kind of move off of these lows, I can take my little Fibonacci tool. I don't know exactly where the top is. Nobody does, right? And anybody who tells you that, yeah, the market is going to stop at exactly this level, either they're an insider, right? They have enough size to manipulate the market, or they're privy to insider information, which technically, if this was a stock or commodity, right, that's technically illegal. Crypto, well, that's another thing altogether. And you could argue one of the reasons why a lot of people in the public space are very leery about crypto. Keep in mind, this is 100% unregulated at the moment. My suggestion to you is let this market sort of fill itself out wherever it does want to top. And you're going to take your fib tool, and let's assume that this was the top and it's not going to get up into here. There's just too much resistance. Then you're going to draw this and notice how we have these overlapping zones. And when this kind of stuff happens, ooh, I get super excited, right? This is what we call a reload zone within a reload zone. And interesting too, look how um, Ian's original 88.6 is now going to be, look how 88.6, 78.6 is going to paint that same level again right in here, right? Really, we have one site member, total genius guy, and it's so cool to watch how some of you guys just pick up this stuff so fast. But I definitely know one site member, he's going to, if he was interested in this, and this is what I would suggest to all of you, is that once we have topped and we're starting to work our way back down, then you go and look at the chart and you look for price gaps. And what we often find is that we get nice price gaps that need to be filled in right in these reload zone windows. It's quite shocking. I don't know if I can see any just off the top of my head. It looks like there might be a price gap right there. Oh, it looks like there's one right there. So just quickly eyeballing this, I can see a couple. Right there, you can see those. So these actually end up becoming objectives for price when it works its way back down. In essence, we would call these basically unfinished business on the chart. I don't know whether this is a gap. It looks awfully close, eh? And this is a funny, oh, yep, there it is. Right there. And this is a really weird one, right? Because this candle actually finished, beep, finished the bar there. Next trade, boom, right up here. Well, what the hell? On a 4 hour, you're seeing lots of gaps. You know, a guy's got to the point where he's pretty damn good, where he started to give Brian pointers. I love it, Ian. You're the fucking man. You're the shit. No way, man. I love it. I've told you I want to hire you. I've kissed your ass to call it peanut butter. What else do I have to do, Ian? You want to kiss? Mwah. There you go. You're the best, man. You're the shit. Brian's going CSI. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the bottom line here is we've drawn some gaps. And you see there's a gap there. I just did this very quickly. There's a gap right here, right in the middle of the reload zone. Ian's telling us there's some gaps off the 4 hour. Probably down in this area. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a gap sitting like right at Ian's 88.6. There's that gap. Actually, it's interesting on the 4 hour. That doesn't show there. Oh, there's a gap right there. They're interesting on the daily. That shows as a gap, but that isn't there. Oh, look, there's a gap right there. Interesting. So, this is what you're going to have to do to drill down on your charts to really find those locations. So, I hope that helps you. What was that gentleman's name again? It was like 2 or 3 hours ago. We started this conversation. Kind of a weird sort of bent for today's broiler chicken show, but I hope that kind of helps. It is afternoon, so I do have to get going here. And of course, on Wednesday we've got a bat show coming up here. So super Jagdish. That's what it is, Jagdish. We've got a bat show coming up here. So we'll, and of course, site members and stuff, we'll do Bitcoin and all that kind of review tomorrow morning. But I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what I saw going on here. Interesting. Bitcoin had a very interesting, don't like how full the profile is looking here now. So I think I'll probably leave the Bitcoin analysis. We've been looking at these AB equals CDs. It looks to me like this has to complete itself now. We'll leave that kind of talk for tomorrow morning, Monday. I wanted to specifically talk to Jagdish there and try and help him understand how I look at price. And if he's going to ask for advice in the lounge and stuff, probably not the best thing to just say, oh, should I buy? Should I sell? I think if anything, maybe even ask, well, guys, where would you be a buyer? Where would you be a seller? And hopefully just looking at, remember, I always like to start everything with location, and just simply looking at location, couldn't even think for a moment about buying here. And in actual fact, we're coming into what I would consider a selling window. So there you go. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Like I said, I gotta head on over and spend the afternoon with my boy. We got tons and tons of work to do on the site to get you ready, everybody, for the new site and school beginning tomorrow for the level oneers. It's gonna be super, super. We got to be a bit flexible here. Julian, I'm not allowed to show you. I was just about to show you, but I remember Julian said, "Do not show the public." But I just went through your walkthrough. Oh man, this looks so fucking cool, man. I tell you, Julian's done a really, really good job here. So totally top notch, Julian. If you watch this later on, so proud of you. So keep on keeping on. Brian, crazy emotional guy, up and down like a horse drawers. Thank goodness Julian and Stuart are sort of nice and level-headed. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave the video at that. I hope everybody enjoyed. Well, we run Tonya. We run a trading school. Won't really get into that today because we're starting the program tomorrow. We just start a new term. But if you want to follow us, Tonya, maybe we can accept you in the next intake. So, okay, everybody, have yourselves a great day. All the best. Take it easy. Play from a position of strength. Follow your trading plans. Thank you. Hey, look at that. See, Rizvan's even giving me a nice big wave. Thanks, man. Totally appreciate it. Make me feel nice and happy for doing this, that actually there's a live body on the other end of this. All right, guys, have yourselves a great day. All the best. Bye for now.